Hello again, everyone. Edwin Arter back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Venus square or opposite the South Node in a natal chart. Now, as some of you may remember, when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in a natal chart. They were a little bit concise. Some people may refer to them as snappy, so what I decided to do is make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is, well, if you have Venus square or opposite the South Node in a natal chart, it could manifest in being difficult to love and enjoy. The things, that you really that you could be comfortable with, which is the South Node. Now, let's say if the South Node is in Aquarius, as an example, the things you may be comfortable with, maybe tied in with humanitarian, altruistic actions and endeavors, maybe doing something with astronomy, astrology, computers, electronics, aviation, meteorology, innovation. As some examples, it could be simply doing things collectively with others, doing things, that are group related. Now, another thing about Venus square or opposite the South Node in a natal chart is that it may also be expressed where it could be hard to leave behind, which is the South Node. The relationships, which is Venus, that could be to one's detriment, which is the South Node. Now, the thing is, if you have, let's say, if you have, Venus, as in Scorpio, as an example, one or more of these people that you have a connection with, whether it's a significant other or, it could be important friends, one or more may actually be a Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be those that are very, resourceful, resilient, empowering, transforming. It could be those that are willful, intense, people that have a lot of willpower, but can also be jealous, manipulative and vengeful as well. And things, Venus square or opposite the South Node in a natal chart may also, be pan out is where it could be troublesome, valuing, which is Venus, the things you're naturally proficient in, which is the South Node. Now, let's say if the South Node is in Capricorn, as an example, those things that you're naturally proficient in, it could be just simply career-related matters, business acumen. It could be, doing some, Capricorn, related, could be like a hobby or interest such as mountain climbing, or it could be a Capricorn related field, whether it may be accounting, dentistry, masonry, carpentry, information technology, government, political work, or it may simply be, general mundane work, as some examples. And another thing too about these aspects is that it could be difficulty, there may be difficulty in terms of balancing the activities that are associated with one's relationships, which is Venus, and those that people that are prominent in one's past, which is the South Node. And the thing is, one may conflict with the other. Now, let's say, if the South Node is in Aries, as an example, those people, that are prominent in one's past, one or more may actually be in Aries, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be those that are aggressive, assertive, forceful, courageous, impulsive, abrupt. It could be those that have, that are confrontational and combative, as some examples. Now, another thing, about these aspects is that, the natural, built-in abilities, which is the South Node, may often not be, beneficial or advantageous to one's self-worth, which is Venus. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the natural built-in abilities, but for whatever reason, they may not be helping you in terms of, trying to, enhance, your self-worth, how you feel about yourself, your self-esteem. Now, let's say, if the South Node is in Gemini, as an example, those built-in abilities may be connected, maybe just being eloquent, being able to articulate things well, assimilating, disseminating information. It may be things connected with manual dexterity, such as auto or refrigeration mechanics, as some examples. It could be, being able to diversify, express versatility, as some examples, and like multitasking at a job, as an example. Now, another thing too is that Venus square or opposite the South Node in a natal chart may also be expressed in, the artistic endeavors, which is Venus may, conflict, with the South Node energy. It could be where, you're trying, whether, artistic endeavors, which is Venus, there may be such an interest in that at times where you're not, emphasizing your, the South Node energy, or maybe you're emphasizing the South Node energy and doing activities associated with them where you might be putting, the artistic endeavors to the back burner, so to speak. So it could be a conflict, with this energy. Now, let's say if you have, Venus in, Venus in Pisces, may be enamored with, abstract art. It could be fiction. I could say it again, fiction, fantasy art. Venus in Aquarius could be very futuristic, innovative, ingenious art that's unorthodox. Venus in Cancer could be very, like nostalgic art or connected with history or one's family or home, their roots, as some examples. And another thing too is that, this Venus square or opposite the South Node may also not be favorable, as far as the expression of art in that first half of life. The South Node is the energy that, one's trying to, express. Now, let's say if you have, like, you have the South Node, making the opposition to Venus. That would mean that Venus is close to the North Node. And the thing is, if it's if you have that, that means the art is more, emphasized in the likely be more emphasized in that second half of life where the North Node is. So, the thing about this too, these aspects, is that if there's any issues, connected with the neck, the throat, the thyroid, kidneys, or lower back, which is Venus, it may conflict with, whatever enjoyment one may have in connection, with the South Node position. Say if the South Node is in Sagittarius, there may be, person may be very proficient in matters with publishing, advertising, printing, press operation, doing sports-related activities connected with the outdoors, camping, could be foreign travel, or simply expanding one's horizons. And also, too, the people that are prominent in one's past, which is the South Node, may not be advantageous in terms of your talents and abilities, which is Venus. And what I mean, with that is that whether it's the development of those talents and abilities or engaging with you, in those things that are connected, with your talents and abilities, sharing that interest with you, doing things with you in connection, with those talents and abilities. Now, let's say if Venus is in Libra, as an example, those talents and abilities may be tied in with art. It could be, doing something, with drawing, painting, sculpting, as some examples. It could be maybe there is even an ability for a sport that's connected with balance, whether it could be tennis or gymnastics, as some examples. It could be, too, if you have one of these aspects in your natal chart, it could also be that, any developed redundant qualities that you may have connected with the South Node may have more of an adverse effect on the marriage partner, on that relationship with the marriage partner, the significant other, which is Venus, more so than most people. Now, let's say if you have the South Node in Virgo as an example, those overdeveloped, redundant qualities can be being, constant. It could be over analyzing things, again, as I've stated in previous videos, like seeing the Dwad within the Dwad as an example in an astrological placement. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Leonard saying, stay well.